What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, and today I'm gonna show you how to make a very simple climbing system. It's gonna be a very easy video to follow, so let's get started. But first, check out the link in the description to get out some Unreal Engine courses on Winfox. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and open our character blueprint. So in my case, I'm gonna be using one that I just created. Basically, I just duplicated the normal third-person mannequin and just added my own skeletons so they can be compatible with my climbing animations. So basically the next step will be to basically get some climbing animations. Now I will be leaving them in the description just in case you want to grab them. They're basically from Mixamo, so we're gonna be using these ones today. Okay, so let's start by actually making the interaction with the wall or whatever the things that we want to climb. Okay, so I'm gonna just start by creating a basic cube over here in the scene, so we can just have something to basically go ahead and climb. So I'm just gonna put it over here and make it much taller. There we go, something like that. Just something to have to climb. So I will go in here and then press a key and I will be climbing. Okay, so let's go into our climbing character. I'm gonna go into the event graph. So what we're going to do is create a new function. This is going to be our climbing line trace. So this will basically create a line trace that will basically give us the position where we want to be able to grab and climb. So what we're going to do is a line trace by channel, and basically our starting point is going to be our get actor location, as it's just gonna start where we are right now, and then it will end with our get actor rotation, turn rotation. So we want to get our current rotation and we want to get the forward vector so we can know where we are looking with the character. And then what we want to do is basically multiply this value. I'm gonna go ahead and right click, convert this into float. So basically this is gonna be the distance that we're gonna be able to climb into objects. So for example, let's say 100. Just for now, we can change it later. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add two vectors. We're gonna hold control and drop this down and put the location over there, and then this is gonna be our endpoint. So now we'll be able to create a line trace and basically just hang on to things. So I'm gonna say that the book type is gonna be for duration, so we can just preview how it will look. I'm gonna go quick into the event graph and go up here and add an event tick. So I'm gonna call the climbing line trace so we can just preview what we have done. So if now I press play, you will see that we have a red line in front of the player. So we'll do that if you go into the wall and the red line is impacting with the wall, we'll be able to go ahead and climb the wall. So the next step will be, I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna go back into climbing line trace, and what we're going to do is go ahead and make a branch over here so we only continue if we have actually collided with something. And then what we want to do is make an output. So we'll go ahead and select the function and then add an output, and this will be basically the out hit, the out hit. And then what we want to do is make this on the true, and then this will not be a boolean. This will actually be an out hit. So we want to hit result. There we go. And then we're gonna go and just plug this one in here. And I'm gonna make it a bit more prettier. We just double click and put in these lines over here so it's a bit better. Okay, great. So now we have our line trace to be able to climb into things. Okay, so now what we're going to do is be able to actually climb into things if we actually grab it. So what I'm going to do is go into a zone over here, for example up, and let's say that I want to grab with the E key. So let me get the E key over here. Let's go down here, this, and what I'm going to do is that when we press it, we're gonna go the climbing line trace that we have just done, and what we're going to do is basically get the out hit. So the thing is that the out hit will give us if we actually like all the parameters of the object that we have hit it. But I want to actually make a change, and it's delete this branch and then actually integrate it into the return node. So just drag it in, and it will also output the has hit. So basically we'll know if we have hit it outside of the function, which it will be just a bit better. So we're going to continue with the branch. And then what we want to do is basically break this hit result. So now we have all the parameters. I'm gonna take this bit up of the hit result. So if we actually have collided with something, what we're going to do is create a new variable is, as said, it is climbing. Okay, so basically is climbing will be set to true. And then what we're going to do is continue. And what we're going to do is basically set the movement mode of the player into be flying. And you'll be like questioning, well, why we are setting this into be flying. Well, basically it will just disable the gravity and things like that automatically for us, so it will be just easier. We just use flying. Now I think that it's going to change is go into class defaults and search for flying, and then if you go down into breaking the acceleration, this will be into 0. So just crack this up into around 1000. So it's just because there will be a smooth transition, if not like an inertia, I guess, when you move around. And if you just increase the braking deceleration of flying, it would just look a bit better. So make sure to just put this into high value. And now we can continue with our blueprint over here. So the thing is that we're gonna make the orientation to movement disabled. So basically if we start going, for example, into the left, our character will not start facing the left as it is in the direction which is moving. So you just stay focused looking at the wall. And now one of the last things that we want to do is basically just set the actor rotation to be a new rotation. So we're gonna go ahead, right click and split it, so we have all the different axis values. And what we want to do is basically get our normal and then get a rotation from X. So we're gonna right click and split it, and this will just return us the rotation from the normal, and we want basically the Z axis of it. So then we can just add 180 into this axis, and then what we can do is just plug it directly into the new rotation offset. So basically this will be forcing the character to always be facing the wall. And the next thing I'm going to do is get the actor rotation, so basically the current one, and just set the X and the Y to basically just keep in what it's doing. So we're gonna go ahead and command this. It's gonna be climbing interaction, as this is when we are hitting E basically. So right now it will really not do anything. I mean, we can try it out, but we will not be able to properly climb. You can see now we have some things going on, but yeah, we still really cannot do anything. It's still like kind of broken. So what we're going to do now is go into the event tick. So I'm gonna add this. This will trigger each on each frame. So as you know, the event tick. So what I want to do is basically make sure that we are climbing. So sorry, here we go. If we are climbing, we are gonna continue. So what we want to do is basically just repeat basically all these steps that we have done here, but because we're gonna also have a not climbing, but like declimbing, I guess we could call it, when you just stop climbing, I guess, yeah, better named. We will just make the reverse of all this. But a thing that we want to create in every frame is the set actor location. So I'm just gonna get this, and get this. So I'm gonna copy and then paste it over here. So the reason why we are doing this is that we want to set and override the rotation of the character on each frame, because if not, it will only do it once at the start, and then if this wasn't a wall or whatever, or this was basically kind of tilted, the rotation will not change accordingly. But if we do it every frame, it will, because it will be updated, if it makes sense. But we'll once again need to call the climbing line trace and just in the true statement, and then we're just gonna go ahead and make it a branch again on here to just make sure, but then it will be much cleaner because we only need to get this, and then we can just get the normal and just plug it in over here. So now it's a bit more organized, and I guess we could call this the climbing loop, because I guess this will be just repeated once and once. So now we have pretty much a lot of the climbing logic prepared, but now we need some more things. We actually need to be able to move up, down, left, and right accordingly to the wall. So what we want to do is go back into the movement input. So basically this is just the normal Unreal Engine by default control using the new enhanced input, of course. But of course, if you're using another Unreal Engine version, older one like 5.03, using the normal input, it will also work. But basically we're gonna make some more space over here. So we're gonna basically turn this down and then pull this up over here. And what we want to do is in the forward and backwards, what we want to do is just set get up vector. So we would just want to get the up vector instead of the forward vector. So we want to move up and down. So just copy this, paste this here, and then what we want to do is get this and make a branch. So if this is false, it will go here, but this is true, it will go over here. So what are we going to make? Well, we're gonna check if we are climbing. So if we are not climbing, it will be normal, but if we're climbing, it will be moving up or down, and then we need to plug in the scale value back here. So now we can just get this, and then the rotation, we can just get the pawn rotation, paste it over here, and then right click, split it, and then just pawn the Z over there. And then what we want to do is also for the left and right, just making sure that is just looking forward to the wall each time. So what we can do is say get vector right, get right vector, and then we can copy this, paste this over here, and then again make a branch. This is looking a bit messy because of the comments, but you can tune it in later to make it a bit prettier. I'm just making it fast to show you how it works. And then again, this will be if it's climbing, and then this will put on here, and then there we go. So now we should be able to properly climb the wall, sorry. So if I go here and go in here, press E, you will see that I can, okay, so I'm moving into a certain direction each time. So I didn't plug the scale value, I just realized, so let's go ahead and plug that. Okay, I just made the dumbest thing in the world. We have to connect this into here. Basically that was the error, because if not, it will not in the branch, it will not continue. So now we can hit E, and then we can go up, down, right, left. Okay, so we can go in all directions, and it's looking pretty cool. Now we need to make it so that it will stop climbing when we are no longer basically interacting with something. So what we can do is go into here, and the false, we will go ahead and call a custom event, which will be stop climbing. And here we'll go ahead and call it stop climbing. Okay, so we're gonna do some things over here. We're gonna firstly set it to false, and then the next thing that we're going to do is go in here and set the character movement mode to be back to so we should do into walking. But the thing is that it will be nice to say if falling if we are on a different altitude, because as soon as we touch the ground, it will go back to walking. So the most convenient thing will be to set it into falling. And then another thing we're gonna get is the orientation to movement. I'm gonna get this and just paste this over here, and then turn it back to true. Go ahead and press C for comment, and then stop climbing. Okay, so now we should be able to stop climbing if we go outside of the bounds. There we go, we go back into walking. And another thing that I want to do is basically if we hit any key, for example hit E again, we may want to stop climbing. So we can do is just say flip-flop and say okay, in case A it will go here, and in case B will go there. But because it may vary if we are climbing or not, and basically in a time this will desync, well, what we're going to just say if we are climbing or not. So if branch, say here, so if we are not boolean, so it will be a bit cleaner. If we are not climbing, so this is true, not climbing, it will start to climb. And then if this is basically false, it will say stop climbing, basically. So now we can just go here, press play, start climbing, and then when I hit E again, it will just fall into the ground. Okay, so we have pretty much all the climbing system done. So the last thing that we have to do is set up our animations. So let's go into our animations and go into browser. I'm gonna go ahead and right click, go into animation, and it's gonna be a blank space. So we're gonna go ahead and select our skeleton, and then this is gonna be the climbing blank space. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Alright, so in here we'll be able to transition between all the different animations very smoothly depending on basically a value. So we're gonna go firstly into the axis settings. I'm gonna set up some things over here. So the horizontal axis is gonna be the move left and right, basically. So this will be the animations for moving left and right, and the vertical axis will be the moving up and down. Okay, so then the minimum axis value for move left and right will be -100, and then the maximum will be 100, and the same for moving up and down. So we'll go between -100 and 100. So now we want to set up our animations in this grid over here. So let's search for the climbing arrow, and this will basically go into the center, snap to grid over here. So now it will be easier to change it, and then we'll just snap exactly what we want. So basically our arrow animation will be 0, 0, 0 on our center, and then the climbing up and down. So we need to climbing up and down animations. Right now I only have the up animation, but what I can do is just get this, rename it into just so you will have probably the same animations. If you don't know it from my description, it would just be climbing up, and then I can just duplicate this one and say climbing down and open this one, and then the rate scale, which is basically the animation speed, can be -1. So now it will be backwards like it was going down. Very cool, clever trick. And then in here we can just let it on left again, and then duplicate it, and this will be right, and then we can open this up, and then the rate scale will be -1. So now you can see, if you go into here, open this up, we can get the climbing up animation to be over here and climbing down animation to be on here. So now if I hold Ctrl, you will see the transition. As the value increases, it will go from going down into arrow and then into climbing up. So it's really cool. So we're gonna get the climbing left in here and climbing right on here. So now it will basically be transitioning, and you can see that if I get into a corner, it will actually kind of smoothly interpolate in between the two. So we don't need an extra animation for going in between. The blank space will do it automatically for us. So this is really cool. Okay, so this is set up, we can close it, and now we can go into our animation blueprint that you hopefully have. If you're using the mannequin, you will have it, of course. If you have your own character, well, probably you will have it. If not, I can make an tutorial on how to make a proper animation blueprint. But anyway, we're gonna go into our state machine, and I'm gonna add a new state over here. This will be the climbing, and then it will just interpolate between our locomotion and our climbing. So we want to just drag it into an arrow and then drag it down over here. So we can change this depending on some values. So we want to create a new variable, which is climbing. So we're gonna go into the from locomotion to climbing. I'm gonna double click in the circle, and then we can just drag this in. So if it's climbing, it will go. I'm gonna go back, and then in the from climbing to locomotion, and double click, get is climbing, and say not boolean. So basically, if it's not climbing anymore, it will basically go back. Now we want to double click on climbing, and we want to get our climbing blank space and just plug it in over here, and we'll basically play the climbing blank space. And then we have to create these two variables, which will be the values that I just said before on the on here. Sorry, this one not. This was the one. There we go. Here, basically the value to interpolate between the two. Okay, so it will be from range of -100 to 100. So what we want to do is right click, promote to variables. So this will be the move left and right, and right click, promote to variable, and this will be the moving up and down. So go ahead and move this. Okay, so now we can compile and save. So we're gonna go into our events graph, and then if you don't have this, you can just quickly copy it. Basically, just on the try get pound honor, you can just cast into your character blueprint, and then, well, I was getting the velocity for my blank space, but yeah, basically we had to get some values and know in which direction we're going, up or down. So we're gonna go back into our character blueprint. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna create two more variables. So it's gonna be move up and down axis, sorry, and then this is gonna be a float, so change this into a float, and then I'm gonna make a new one, which is gonna be move left and right axis. So now what we can do is just plug this over here. So the move up and down axis will go into this one, so into this one. So you just drag it, set it, and then right after the two, well, actually just the one of climbing, of course, makes more sense. We can just drag this and just plug it in directly in here, and then on the one of moving left and right, you just set it, and then we can just go after this, plug it in, and then go back into here, of course, and then this will be the X value over here. So now we can go back into our climbing, and we can just get our up and down axis, and then what I want to do is basically times them by 100. And the reason we've been doing that is because these values range from 0 to 1, and the values on the blank space values from minus 100 to 100. We can just go back here and then set the moving up and down, set it, and then with the value that we have over here. And then in the left and right, you set it, and then get from here, get left and right. And then again, we can just copy this and times it by 100, and then plug it into here. So we need the last thing, which is basically setting if it's climbing. So we can just get set is climbing, and then on here we can just get is climbing, and basically just plug it in over here. So now we can go ahead and test this out. So if I press play, go with E, you can see that I am on my Edo animation, go up, and well, okay, I got too much up, you can see the animation, down, left, and right. And you can see that there's some things happening over here. Basically, first of all, the changes between animations are just very like hard, and we want to smoothly change between them. And then the thing is that the animations are kind of bugging a lot. So I think that what we want to do is go into the animation blueprint, and basically want to get our velocity. If you don't know how, you can just see this nodes, get the character moving component, the velocity, the time value, and then what we want to do is check if this is basically equal to 0. So if it is, it means that we are not moving. So we're gonna make a branch, and if this is true, we're gonna set the move left to 0, and then up and down also to 0. Now we're gonna go back into the climbing blank space, and to basically set this value to not be so much of different, we're gonna go back into sample smoothing. I'm gonna increase this into a very high number. I'm gonna say, for example, 200 right now, which is basically a lot. So now that we have set the weight speed to a high number like 200, we want to go into the smoothing time over here in the both axes and put something around 1 and 1, for example. So you will see that now we actually will get a much smoother, there we go, response into it, as you can see over here. Maybe it's too much, you can put like 0.4 and yeah, 0.4, something like that. You can play with these values to make it look a bit better. Of course, put it in full screen. But yeah, basically it's your decision, but we're already getting a very cool result, a simple climbing system. Now it doesn't look exactly good because of the animation that I got, but you can go ahead and play with them. I also play with the values. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do in order to make it look better. Or for example, 0.1 even to make it much smaller, and then maybe turn the white speed into 50, something like that. Now we will have a more relaxed transition, as you can see. You can play around with the values, but yeah, basically now we have a simple climbing speed, and yeah, you can see that. So now we can just go back in here, go into our climbing line trace and set this into none, so we don't have the messy red lines. And there we go, we have a simple climbing system. So if you guys enjoyed the tutorial and found helpful, I really appreciate it. Look at the video and subscribe to my channel. I have lots of Unreal Engine 5 tutorials to this one, so if you want to check it out, go ahead. And now yes, with all that said, bye bye.